Tony D and Little Joan with Screenwriters Rant on Jackpot, starring Awkwafina and John Cena as a woman who wins a future jackpot in Los Angeles, and if anybody kills her, they get the money. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Heart in South Jersey. It's the Pineys. Books 1 through 14 available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. Now, I'm going to be upfront. I wrote a screenplay about a guy who wins the lottery and a bunch of people try to kill him. So I think mine's way better than this. But I got a lot of criticism for this trailer. So I'm just going to say right out, I am biased openly against this thing. I'm biased against the leads especially. I don't like either one of these people. Like, they're really not good in my view. So let me get those biases out front. First off, there's John Cena. I have yet to see John Cena good in anything. Now, Dave Bautista, when we're talking about wrestlers turned actors, Dave Bautista was good in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just good in that role. I think he was okay on What We Do in the Shadows and maybe one other role, but out of him and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and John Cena, he's kind of the best, but it's a low bar. Then you got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was maybe good in 2 movies, kind of, if you really stretch it. And the guy's done a lot of movies. He's kind of always the same. John Cena, to me, besides the fact he apologized to China, which I still can't get past, he is the kind of guy who reads the lines. Like, that's all he can do. He can memorize them and he can say them, and that's it. I don't believe a single word coming out of John Cena's mouth when he's in a movie. It just feels like somebody handed him a script and said, "John, say this," and he says it. You can understand the words, but there's no feeling behind it at all. I don't believe he's anybody other than John Cena trying to act and not succeeding. So John Cena is a non-starter for me. Another veteran actor in this role probably would have been good, like an older guy. And usually, back in the day, that would have been it. This would have been a role for, let me think. Well, it reminds me of this sort of buddy movie. Could have been someone like Robert De Niro when he was in that Charles Grodin movie. I forget the name of it. Dabney Coleman, who just passed away. These are older guys. They wouldn't be good now, obviously, because Dabney Coleman's dead and Robert De Niro's too old. But in their heyday, John Cena's just... I don't know much about this role, but I know John Cena's wrong for it. Because he's wrong for almost every role. Like, the premise of this movie is Awkwafina's character wins the lottery, and then you have 24 hours to kill her, and you get the money, because it takes place in California in 2030. Because California's wacky, everybody. Which I guess is the premise of the movie. Like, on the one hand, you're trying to make fun of California, but on the other hand, I don't believe you Hollywood a-holes are making fun of California. Awkwafina, whose name is so annoying, I'm annoyed by her. I'm annoyed by everything about Awkwafina. Number one, and I looked at her on the IMDb. First off, is this even her? When was this picture taken? When you were 16? Because this doesn't look like current Awkwafina. It just doesn't look like her. Awkwafina's been on a lot of cartoons. She's done a lot of voices. She also is some kind of rapper and's had a bunch of specials as a rapper, I guess, or a comedian rapper. I'm not even sure because I've never seen her stuff. I guess she has a following, but there is followings, and then there's a TV audience, and then there's a movie audience. So to give you an example of the separation between that, TV and movies, me and a friend were trying to put together a movie package to distributors in Canada, and we had picked potentially Angeline Lilly from Lost, you know, the woman who plays she's the Wasp in the Quantum Mania movies. We had picked her as the co-lead because she was coming off of Lost, and the distributors said to us point blank, her notoriety isn't worth anything in the movie market. Now, this is prior to COVID, a few years ago, but back then people were still watching TV. There was still an audience in TV, and even then, during the Lost years, they're saying no, for movies that doesn't matter. So Awkwafina has a bunch of credits in television doing voices for cartoons, but that matters even less because you're not even seeing her. You're not even seeing her face. And she has a bunch of credits in that department. She'll always work, but this doesn't translate to a movie. Her first big movie is Ocean's 8, which I believe was the female remake of Ocean's 11, if I'm not mistaken. The all-female, yeah, it's the all-female remake of Ocean's 11. This movie didn't do well. I believe it completely bombed. Now, normally in Hollywood, in the past, when you make your movie debut and you bomb, you're kind of demoted. They kind of go, well, you didn't do too well, kid. We'll give you some backup parts or whatever. Now, she was the lead in that, so you can understand them saying, well, we'll give her another chance. So she was in Crazy Rich Asians. I don't know how well that movie did. I think it did okay. I don't think she was the lead. No, because you had Constance Wu and Michelle Yeoh, who are probably more the leads. So, again, another supporting thing, a bunch of other stuff. And then eventually she gets to, I mean, she does a voice in the SpongeBob movie. But again, that's cartoon. It's Shi Chang and the Legend of the Ten Rings, where she finally gets a big role. A big, huge role. Like co-lead or supporting actress, you would say. Now, that's only in 2021, and you can argue that the movie did okay, and it kind of did okay. I mean, it made money. It was an MCU film. The fans didn't like it very much. Didn't really send her off in the stratosphere. And in fact, there were a lot of complaints about that movie. Then a bunch of other stuff, including Renfield, which totally bombed. Little Mermaid, again, another movie that didn't do well. She eventually got a TV show, Awkwafina is Nora from Queens. Again, TV doesn't matter. She was in this movie Quiz Lady, which was the one movie I saw her in, at least trailer-wise, that looks like a good role for her. It looked like a good role. She's done a voice in Kung Fu Panda. Again, I don't know how much that counts in IF. But now she's a co-lead, or basically the lead, in Jackpot. A movie that, you know, they're trying to push. They're trying to push as a big movie on Prime with her co-lead John Cena. The two of these, I don't know if these two have enough of an audience to even make a movie. But setting that aside, to me, she's just as annoying as John Cena. Like, way too sarcastic. Because I haven't seen her in anything good. Right? I haven't seen her in a single thing that's really all that good. And I don't know if she has the what's the word I'm working? It's not credibility. It's like there's no sort of positivity with her, right? So for her to be in a movie where she's just gonna sneer the entire time, I don't know if it could work, right? So, like Melissa McCarthy in this role, a woman who wins the lottery, a woman who goes to Hollywood to become an actress, and she has no money and everything's going terribly. And then she wins the lottery, and then everybody tries to kill her. I can see Melissa McCarthy in that role, because Melissa McCarthy has played roles in which I feel bad for her. Her personality is such that you can kind of root for her, right? Awkwafina, and you tell me, watch the trailer yourself, doesn't come off that way, but she should be coming off that way. She should be coming off as, oh man, this poor woman. She's trying to be an actress in Hollywood, and they're just not really giving her a chance. And it starts with her walking into this room for an audition, and it's like, oh great, they're rebooting Barbie. So like, I'm supposed to feel sorry for her because she went to an audition if they're rebooting Barbie. I think she's just making a sarcastic comment. But I'm supposed to feel sorry for her that they don't completely rewrite the Barbie movie so someone who doesn't look like Barbie can have the lead. That's not a way to do it. A way to do it is, she is great in the role, but, you know, the director is sleeping with one of these hot chicks and she doesn't get it. That would be a way to make me feel sorry for her. Or they just, you know, they basically tell her she's ugly. And then I feel really bad for her. I'd be like, oh, that's horrible. Because this is the kind of thing that happens in LA. Instead, we get her playing the race card, kind of. Softly, but I think it's there. I don't feel sorry for her. It's a bad joke. You shouldn't have gone to this audition if they're rebooting Barbie. And in fact, if they were rebooting Barbie, I'm 100% confident you'd move to the front of the line and you'd be in it. Because that's the way they're casting everything. So, you know, it's like Hollywood trying to make fun of itself. Good luck. You got a long way to go to make fun of yourself. By the way, Paul Feig is involved in this. I think he may have directed it. Yeah. Paul Feig. You know, remember the guy, Female Ghostbusters? Yeah. Hilarious. Written by Rob Yescombe. Rated R for adult situations. And on top of everything else, it's a ridiculous premise. Right? The whole premise of the movie hinges on the fact that she wins the lottery and then everybody has 24 hours to kill her. I had a different explanation in my movie, just so you know. And if you're going to go into the future, go to like 2050 at least. You're going to go 6 years into the future? It's not going to be that different. It's just not going to be that different, Paul. At least go to 2050. And then Simu Liu is in it, another guy who shot his mouth off in, as a celebrity in the media about race and whatnot. I don't want to see him either. So this movie has, for me, everything going against it. I don't buy the premise. I don't think anybody involved is particularly funny. The two leads are annoying. Simu Liu is annoying. I mean, there's some hot blondes in it, but she makes fun of it. And they're not the main characters in the movie. So what am I tuning to see? I'm regretting even looking at the trailer. This is bad, in my view. Super bad. Super bad. So, and I want to see this, the writer, Rob Yescombe. See if he wrote anything that I like. Okay. Arizona Sunshine, Twilight Zone, the VR video game. Farpoint, the video game. A lot of video game. Boy, look at all these video game credits. This guy has written video games. Yeah, I don't know if this is the right guy for comedy. Look, comedies are very tough. If you're going to write a comedy, I'll tell you the person, and it pains me to say it, who needs to write this movie, is Awkwafina. Because she's the only one with any kind of comedy. John Cena, not a comedian. Paul Feig made female Ghostbusters. I think I've taken his comedy card. Goodbye. Yes Combe or whatever his name is. He doesn't appear to have any comedy credits. You need a comedian to at least be in the mix to write a comedy. And they just don't seem to be here. So, did you think you could pull off a comedy without any comedians? Okay, you got Awkwafina. She can make sarcastic comments. She's okay in that role. But sarcasm makes people unattractive and can annoy people unless you're targeting the right people. Like, if she had a different audition scene in this beginning, and instead of complaining about the blondes, she noticed that the director is eyeing up every girl that comes in there to try to bang them, and then she made a sarcastic comment. Like, I was working with a female artist once, and we were talking about doing a comic book together, and there was another guy, I'll say another comic book publisher, who wanted her to work with him, but he also wanted to bang her, and that was very clear. And he was extremely I shouldn't say he was rude, but he was making it very clear that he wanted to, as she put it, climb up in her vagina. And when she said that, I nearly died laughing, because it was super sarcastic, but it was legit. It was a legit criticism of this guy, because, and she was very attractive, and believe me, I would have loved to have dated her, but I wasn't going to act that way in front of a potential coworker. I wasn't going to hit on her, a potential coworker. But this other guy didn't have a problem with that. And that was okay. In that moment, that's funny. In this moment, the sarcasm kind of falls flat. It kind of falls flat because we have to identify with you. And this movie is more personality driven than it is story driven. And it needs to be story driven. If it's a satire about LA and the future, it needs to be story driven. Or California. The explanation, like, well, it's California, we kill lottery winners and take their money. That doesn't make any sense. So you need a way more explanation on that. In fact, the entire trailer should have been built around the premise, not built around the two people in it. They don't have enough of a following, in my view, to pull enough viewers for this movie. They have some. John Cena probably has more than Awkwafina, I would guess. But yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Hold on one sec. Every single time. So, again, this is all just my opinion, as it always is. But if you're going to do a hilarious, funny movie where John Cena, who I don't like his hair, I don't like his whole deal. You know, kudos for them to give him a different hair to make him look a little different in this role, but he's just John Cena doing his John Cena thing. He's just a guy with muscles saying words, in my view. Awkwafina is trying to add the comedy. I don't know what Simu Liu is doing here. I think he turns out to be the bad guy, and they even give away that in the trailer. So first act, she wins the lottery. Everyone's trying to kill her. Second act, John Cena saves her and is going to protect her through the movie for some reason, because I guess he expects a reward from her. And Simu Liu runs an operation where they save lottery winners, and then at some point he turns against them and they try to kill each other. And kudos to them for doing a little pre-trailer thing where they're going to give away money when you watch this thing, I guess. But, they're trying to please the audience. But it's like everything else has been emphasized in this but the story. Like, the story has been so That's like the last thing they're talking about, and it's the most important thing in this particular movie. Like, if this was a cop buddy movie and they were just two cops in the modern day tracking down some generic criminals, yeah, you could concentrate on the personalities of Awkwafina and John Cena. That would be the only way you could go. But when you're talking about a premise that's supposed to satirize California in 2030, only 6 years from now, first off, again, you had to go to at least 2050, I would say, to make it work. And number two, you really need some biting satire. And I have zero confidence, Hollywood. You think Paul Feig, who had the genius idea of girling up the Ghostbusters, is going to really give it to Hollywood? He's going to really give it to them. No. He's not going to really give it to them. Not in my view. No. So, would I watch this? Oh, God, no. I wouldn't watch this if you told me I watched it, I get to win the jackpot. Here, I'm going to read it. In the near future, a grand lottery has been established in California. The catch, kill the winner before sundown to legally claim the multi-billion-dollar jackpot. It's a dumb premise. When Katie Kim, Awkwafina, moves to Los Angeles, she mistakenly finds herself with the winning ticket. Desperate to survive the hordes of jackpot hunters, she reluctantly joins forces with an amateur lottery protection agent. This doesn't even make any sense. That's not a real thing. Noel, John Cena, who will do everything in his power to get to sundown in exchange for a piece of her prize. However, Noel must face off with his slick rival, Lewis, who also seeks to collect Katie's commission at all costs. Jackpot is directed by Paul Feig and written by what is his name? Rob Yescombe. Yeah, Rob Yescombe, who's written video game. This sounds like a video game. This sounds like a video game. And that's a real problem. It should sound like a movie. So, downvote. No, bad Amazon. Bad Amazon for making this. My pitch was a lot better. Yeah, my pitch was a lot better. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Check us out on all the other platforms. This movie kind of infuriates me. I'm gonna go take a breather, have some iced tea, and relax. I think I need it after that. We'll see you in the next one.